Do you remember the first time you ever sang? Can you still remember that?
Yeah, it was on the football terraces with my dad when I was about 4, and I went to see the big match, and there was about 25,000 people just singing, the usual stuff, not particularly subtle. But I just remember thinking, whoa, what is this? And I just felt, because we're all on the same team, we're all supporting the same side, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. That was my very first singing experience, and then later in life, the first time I sung in like a big harmony choir, that had a big impression. But that was my fundamental first experience, really, yeah.
Hi, you're Welsh, correct?
I live in Wales, but I'm actually from England originally, yeah. I'm an adopted Welshman, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that kind of messes with my question.
I could pretend to be Welsh if that would help the question. Yeah.
The first time I ever went traveling by myself, I found myself in Glasgow, and it just coincided with the Six Nations rugby tournament. I wasn't there for that, but it was happening. And I stayed at a hostel, and in my room were 6 Welsh farmers. And they were speaking Welsh, which, if you've never heard it before, sounds crazy. And
it's a beautiful language, yeah.
They saw that I was not a Welshman, so they immediately started speaking English. They were really welcoming. They thought they were going to take me out. But they warned me before we left that I was going to be around some singing, and that I should be looking forward to it because Welsh people were the greatest singers in all of the world. And they sang the entire night wherever we went. They started people singing in bars and in pubs and everywhere we went. And I was just curious of how much that culture has informed you in your quest.
I think
the next question is, do you believe it's true?
Do I believe what's true, sorry? About the being the
Welsh
best singers in the world?
Singers in the world.
Maybe that's what drew me to live in Wales. I started my journey as a vocal leader before I lived in Wales, but I was well aware of that long tradition of people singing together, and there's very, very long histories of people singing together in the valleys and choirs that are attached to the coal mines, in particular in the industry. And where I live in North Wales, the industry has all gone, but the choirs still are going strong. So male voice choirs, more formal choirs than I'm used to running, so kind of bow ties and sheet music. But it's a very, very proud tradition, and I really love living amongst that. They're not the type of choirs that I run, but I love kind of being part of that, if that makes sense. So I think it was maybe more of a coincidence. So I guess what informed what I do really is just my singing experiences and me feeling just so great when I've been singing with other groups. But it's also brilliant as I travel around to kind of tap into these different cultures. My family heritage is from Cornwall, where there's also a big singing tradition still as well, a big pub singing tradition. And the thing I love, I guess, in Wales is that people just see singing as part of the fabric of everyday life. And that's really what I'm about, is trying to encourage people to make singing just part of their normal. It's not something you do just at a celebration once or twice a year. And that's what the great thing about living in Wales is that everybody just sees singing as something that you do, and it's not something that you're judged on or whatever. So, yeah.
Apropos of what you were saying, by the way, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'll ask a question, which is if anybody has or knows of a chorus that I could be part of, I would like to be. But I'm going to tell you what I think is an extraordinary story. When I was in grade school, I used to sing, and then I had to sing in front of the assembly, and the song was The House I Live In. And I was very ashamed of how we lived. And so I lost my voice. Now, at 82, I'll be trying out for America's Got Talent.
Can I just follow up to that for a second? Well, I meant to say this right after we're done here, but my dream walking out of this is that we're actually forming a choir. So if any one of you is interested, come up afterwards. I have a feeling Creative Mornings should have a choir. So if you know anyone who wants to help lead it, whatever, all of you that are interested afterwards, come here. You might have found your choir.
Yeah.
All right.
I was going to suggest that if anyone wanted to sing rounds, I have a bunch of rounds from when I did that a long time ago, and I kept them. Old Xeroxes. You'd never believe what they look like. They're so faded. But I do have them, and if anyone wants to do round singing, it's a great, easy way to start.
Okay, thanks. Okay, one more question.
I just wanted to ask, part of what you said about singing creating community, do you think that's because we can also like feel the vibrations of other people, that the sound actually creates a wave within our bodies that we actually pick up?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So there's an energy and there's a dynamic when you sing together that is tangible, absolutely. And yeah, I talked a lot about kind of the hard science today, but there's a lot about kind of energy and what we give out, and that when we're part of a bigger group, we're kind of synchronizing that energy and pouring that out together. But there's also the physical vibrations, and there's, the more I look into singing and why it's so amazing, the more things that there are to kind of think about. And that's not something that I've looked at a lot in terms of kind of vibrations, but it's something maybe we can have a conversation with afterwards. But yeah, I think that's definitely part of it as well, of course, yeah. Likewise, if I'm going to be hanging around at the end, if anyone wants to come and pick my brains or ask me or anything, that's great. And what would be really great is if any of you, do go out and decide to do some singing, just like send me, find me on Instagram or Twitter and just tell me, because it really warms my heart when that happens. I did a talk at the Do Lectures this year, which is where I met Tina, and I had a trickle of messages of people saying, I went home and I found a choir and I love it. And that's really amazing for me if that happens. So yeah, so let me know, keep in touch. And I don't know, I just want to say thank you so much again for giving me your voice and creating that beautiful thing that we just did then. So thank you very much.